ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ ध्यायामि चिन्मयानन्दं गुरुदेवं महामतिं प्रेमपूर्णं क्रियाशीलं सदा लोकहितेरतं कृपालुं सुन्दराकारं समर्थं सत्यदर्शिनं वाचा तत्त्वप्रकाशिन्या शोकमोहविनाशिनम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। 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 ऋतगं सत्यं परं ब्रह्म पुरुषं कृष्णपिङ्गलम् ऊर्ध्वरेतं विरूपाक्षं विश्वरूपाय वै नमो नमः। ॐ नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात्। हरि ओम, a very warm welcome. ॐ शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 46 ॐ विस्तारस्थावरस्थाणुः प्रमाणं बीजमव्ययम् अर्थोऽनर्थो महाकोशो महाभोगो महाधनः अनिर्विण्णस्थविष्ठो भूर्धर्मयूपो महामखः नक्षत्रनेमिर्नक्षत्री क्षमः क्षामः समीहनः यज्ञ इज्यो महेज्यश्च क्रतुः सत्रं सताङ्गतिः सर्वदर्शी विमुक्तात्मा सर्वज्ञो ज्ञानमुत्तमम् सुव्रतः सुमुखः सूक्ष्मः सुघोषः सुखदः सुहृत् मनोहरोजितक्रोधो वीरबाहुर्विदारणः. We were discussing this shloka, and having completed the first 5, we will now enter into the 460th Nama, Suhrit. Every human being basically is called as a social animal normally. A human being walks straight because his ability to discriminate is at the top, is most important. Therefore, the head is at the top. The second one is our heart. And third comes our pleasures. In the sense, our physical existence is represented by our tummy, stomach. And the last comes the genital organs, which is involved in the creation, in reproduction. This is the hierarchy in which a man should function in the world outside, and therefore the very constitution of a human being, what we are today, is very beautifully said to indicate ourselves, please. To indicate ourselves that discrimination is the top, second comes the emotions. And then comes the physical aspect of a humanity, and then comes the sensual pleasures. Our sensual pleasures also include even all the sensuous eat and listening and blah blah, whatever you may say so. Having said that, very many of us not really use the head to the fullest extent, because analysis etc. is not everybody's cup of tea. If you see in an organization also, the one who thinks, the one who takes decision actually physically does not work much. His nature of job is to analyze, to think, to understand, and to teach the subordinates how to perform. The really people who slog down the lane, the laborers, they sweat and toil, but the amount of remuneration what a person who toils with sweat and blood is very less when compared to the person who thinks. Look at this hierarchy. So, an intelligent man is always kept at the high. Vidwan sarvatra pujyate, it is said. What is Vidwan sarvatra pujyate? The one who analyzes. The one who discriminates between right and wrong, good and bad, conducive and unconducive, pleasant and unpleasant, and acts positively towards the way one has to act. And such people are very less in number. We also know. You may not feel bad. You can say one among them as you. But by and large, in general, you find that exclusive type of people are very rare. The labor class are also very less when you compare, actually speaking, because for them that only they just toil from morning to evening, and evening to morning again they sleep off or something, it's over. But the major class you find in humanity are emotional in nature. In fact, very interestingly you will find even animals have got lot of emotions. They respond to love. They respond to care. They respond to being accommodated. They want to be cuddled. All these are traits which we see not only in animals but majorly in human being also. In fact, most of us are very easily carried away by emotional aspect of the personality. And our emotions are normally sentiments. To call it as emotions is incorrect. Why is it so? There are two types. One is emotion, another one is sentiment. Emotions are our basic nature. We are born with it. Everybody wants to enjoy the emotional part of the personality. Everybody. Love, happiness, togetherness, compassion. All these are born in us. We don't develop many times. That is a different issue. But all of us have the basic nature of all emotions. Then what is sentiment? Sentiment is that we commonly confuse it to be emotion. What is sentiment? Sentiments are those which are born out of dependency with the external things and beings. Think. These sentiments more often trouble people. They get carried away by those dependency factors, and more often than not, we suffer out of sentiments rather than have any kind of joy. What we experience through sentiments are all pleasures, no doubt, but they cannot be happiness. Why? Pleasures never last long. Happiness is our nature. Therefore, all kinds of sentiments and emotions, they are all components of this wonderful, beautiful faculty, aspect of a human being called heart. I am sure you are aware that I am not talking about the blood pumping heart. That is an organ. Organ is inert and insentient. Because it is called heart, and because we confuse it to be emotions, we always say, my heart. Keep the hand on your heart and take the pledge, we say. Is it not? That kind of heart is not this pumping heart. However, it helps us to connect. Therefore, this heart is also taken as that heart. A representative maybe. So here, sentiments are those which toss us hither and thither. It makes us run pillar to post. Whereas, emotions are those which are inborn in nature, we say. In fact, if we go much deeper, you will understand, these emotions are nothing but the nature of Bhagavan, which also naturally is our own nature. Why this discrimination? Because right now we are unable to understand that I and Bhagavan are one and the same. Where are we? We are at the Deha Bhava. If Hanumanji says Deha Bhava Dasoham Jiva Bhava Twadamshakaha Atma Bhava Tvamevaham, I have not yet related myself with the Atma Bhava to consider me, the nature of me and the nature of Bhagavan are one and the same. We have not yet gone till there. Though we must understand that that is what is our goal. But where are we? We are definitely at the physical and sentimental level of our personality, emotional level of our personality. And therefore, when Bhagavan is called Suhrit, meaning what? The one who has got a beautiful heart to accommodate everybody, not because of what they are, but in spite of what they are. That is the glory of Bhagavan. Therefore, he has got a beautiful heart. And when Bhagavan functions with that heart, he has no discrimination. He just loves everybody. Even if we have this distinction as Bhagavan separate and all of us are separate, he loves everybody in spite of what we are. He never thinks twice. Why? He only does the best for us. Though we may label it differently. We may say, Bhagavan is not taking care of me. Bhagavan has forgotten me. Bhagavan is partial to the other person. All these are all immatured, unintelligent expression of a stupid personality in the world. Bhagavan is Suhrin. Suhrit meaning what? The one who favors everybody, asking nothing, demanding nothing, expecting nothing. In fact, some people say he only wants your love towards him. Bhagavan does not want even that love. To be very frank. Why? Bhagavan does not want even that love. He just loves you, that's all. Now, for few seconds, consider our condition. Do we really love somebody, including Bhagavan? Why leave Bhagavan? Even Bhagavan is no different from the other characters of the world according to us. Why? Bhagavan is Bhagavan only if he does what I want. How does it matter whether it is Bhagavan or Bhakta or some Tom, Dick and Harry? Think, this is our level of evolution. Therefore, Bhagavan is the one, he is Bhagavan. Why he is Bhagavan? Only because he understands our limitation. He helps us to grow within, and for which very many times he even comes down to the level of helping us even the material things. How many times we say, oh, it is only because of Bhagavan's Kripa I got all these things done in my house. Is it not? That is very good. To say everything is Bhagavan's Kripa is very good. But in fact it is truth also. But we don't know that is truth. For us it is only a dialogue. Think. I am not condemning. I am not condemning anybody. I am not dethrowing somebody. No. Unfortunately or fortunately or whatever the thing may be, we are like that. But Bhagavan is that. We give lot of dialogues, I give. If the left hand gives, the right hand should not know what the left hand has given. And vice versa. All these are dialogues. Let's accept it. And in front of group, we want to get patted, we want some patting from others. Therefore, we throw up some huge statements, some big statements and flary statements and, the fanciful statements. But what are we inside actually? Our inner factor is so contaminated by all whims and fancies, contaminated by all selfish desires, kama, krodha, raga, dvesha, all of them are bottled inside. And we have a big mask of good person, noble person, wonderful person, he is such a grand person, he is such a great person, and we also exhibit ourselves in our form. Udara nimittam bahukrita veshaha. Think. If at all we really have to have that heart is of Bhagavan alone. Now see, Acharya says, pratyupakara nirapekshataya. Prati upakara nirapekshataya upakaritvat sukrit. Who is he? He never expects back anything. That's what I said. He even does not expect love. Shastras give us certain statements. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, yome, bhaktya prayachati. These are all statements. But from the highest standpoint, from Bhagavan's standpoint, he even does not expect love. Probably, with due respects to everybody, probably if he expects that kind of love from humanity, maybe he will be highly disappointed. He will become miserable also. Think. Why? We have not elevated ourselves. We have not evolved to give that kind of a love which Bhagavan may deserve. Think. However, if that is the case, why are we discussing this? So that can we evolve? Can we evolve our relationship with the world? Can we evolve with the relationship with Bhagavan? And then say, Bhagavan, I am fine. Think. We may say, when somebody asks, how are you? Oh, fine, thank you. If second minute after that again, if we ask, then I am fine, that tone will change. Third time if he asks, I am fine, but and then we have our list of complaints. Think. Honestly speaking, in spite of everything, to keep our heart, to keep our mind with joy, with love, with care for the human being, and work incessantly for the sake of people, for the sake of the creation. Paropakarartham idam shariram. How many of us know about it? How many of you are even trying to do something? But the nature of Bhagavan is full of love. He never expects anything. Prati upakara nirapekshataya. And in our human life we have always seen, even when we are doing puja to Bhagavan, we have a list. Is it not? Mama Kutumbanam Kshema Stairya Virya Vijaya has become a habit, and focus has gone to that also. If Bhagavan, and how many of us in our Sankalpa add Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Vidya Vinaya Praptyartham, very rare. Think. Therefore, to want Bhagavan and Bhagavan alone. It's a very, very idealistic, highly idealistic thought. It is not possible for human being. As though not possible. Almost impossible. Meaning what? It is possible, but it has been impossible because we have not reached that stage. To ask for Bhagavan's grace is also asking. Very idealistic, very high thinking, but think. Bhagavan does not expect even our love towards him, and the highest form of bhakti is, I love Bhagavan, whether he blesses me or not. Have you ever thought of this? That is the grace, that is the glory of bhakti. And Bhagavan, Suhrit, the one who has that kind of a heart, who does not even expect love from you, and Prati Upakara Nirapekshataya Upakaritvat Sukrit. That is the glory of Bhagavan. What a beautiful name, isn't it? We can go on talking about it, but then we have to complete Vishnu Sahasranama also, isn't it? Therefore, I go further. Manoharaha. This is another very, very beautiful nama. As I said earlier in this shloka, all of these nama can be related to Bhagavan Sri Rama. Isn't it? We will see at the end of the shloka. Manoharaha. What is Manoharaha? Yaha Manaha Harati. The one who steals away the mind. What is the stealing away of the mind? Acharya writes, Niratichaya Ananda Rupatvat Manaha Harati iti Manoharaha. Niratishaya Anandatvat. The one who brings in lot of joy. In that experience of joy, man gets carried away. How many stories have we heard about Bhagavan Sri Rama, about Bhagavan Sri Krishna, about Shiva? So many stories. What does the story indicate? Many of them say people just became mad after Sri Rama, mad after Sri Krishna. They became so one with Bhagavan Shiva. What does that actually mean? Manaha harati. They have stolen away our mind. Now the question is, we are not able to understand what is this Bhagavan stealing our mind. Why? We have never accommodated Bhagavan for more than 20 seconds. Think. The whims and fancies of the world, the things and beings of the world have stolen our mind. But the best part, the difference, see, if whims and fancies also have stolen our mind, Bhagavan also can steal the mind. Does it mean whims and fancies, things and beings also can be called as Manohara? No. How is it so? Because when the whims and fancies steal our mind, they cannot hold our mind. They cannot keep our mind, because after some time the mind loses the joy in those things and beings, loses the joy in the whims and fancies, and again searches for something else. Meaning, none of the objects, none of the beings can give me that permanent joy in which I can rely, in which I can rest. But the one place where who steals away the mind, here mind can be called as heart, and keeps it to himself. So many Santa Purushas, so many Bhaktas, Kanakadasa, Purandaradasa, Meerabai, Santa Tukaram, Surdas ji, how many people are there who loved only Bhagavan and who lived in Bhagavan? Think. So very difficult. And how does the mind gets carried away? Bhagavan is Ananda Swarupaha and Niratishaya. What is Niratishaya? Without having any dependency on external factors, Bhagavan steals away the mind. Mind does not require an alambana there. Whereas, with reference to the pleasures of the world, mind requires external propelling objects. Think. With reference to Bhagavan, no object is required. Think. You sit there and then quietly sing Rama Nama Umme Nudi Mana Rama Nama Umme. When you sit there, when you think of Ramanama, when you think of Sri Krishna, when you think of Shiva, at that time, if any objects come, then it is not bhakti. In bhakti, the bhakta gets dissolved. He melts in the thought of Bhagavan. No more dependency on anything other than Bhagavan. Think. And there the mind no more can hold on anything, any concrete factor, because mind itself is no more existent. When the mind is no more existent, where does the mind go? Mind goes at the feet of Bhagavan. Mind only disappears from this ahankari and then gets in one with Bhagavan. There the mind thinks of the Leela of Bhagavan, thinks of the beauty of Bhagavan, thinks of the akara of Bhagavan, thinks of the knowledge in Bhagavan, thinks of that wonderful factor which is Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. There is nothing to hold except Bhagavan, the thoughts of Bhagavan. And the mind just gets lost. In that bhakti bhava, very many times one forgets where he is sitting, where he is living, nothing, who is he with, what is he wearing, nothing comes to the mind. Think, the mind manonashaha, as though. Meaning what? There is no existence of mind, there is only Bhagavan. To that extent, Bhagavan can steal away our mind with what? With his love towards us. If Bhagavan is loving so much, Swamiji, why am I not experiencing? Because my mind is not with him. My mind has got lost in what? In thinking about everything in life. What can I get? What can I achieve? What can I enjoy? What can I hold on? What can I acquire, possess, indulge, embrace, enjoy? We are only here. Think. And here, mind perishes. Whereas there, mind melts out of love towards Bhagavan. That is how Bhagavan can take us. He can steal away our mind from wherever it is wandering. If only we can say to Bhagavan, Bhagavan, please take. Kama krodadi klesha rahitam kuru. Think, how many of us have asked for Bhagavan? We never asked Bhagavan, Bhagavan, please steal away my kama, krodha, ityadi, shadvairinaha. Please remove my raga, dvesha. Please do it. How many of us? We don't have time enjoying the pleasures of the world. We don't have time to enjoy the things and beings of the world. We don't have time to stand for 5 minutes in front of Bhagavan. 5 minutes. Bhagavan has become a product which I look by mistake. Think. This is why our heart is not called as heart, it is called as another sentimental fool. Niratishaya ananda rupatvat. Think. That is manoharaha. Jitakrodhaha, the next name says, Jitakrodhaha, the one who has won over his anger. What is this winning over the anger? Jitaha krodhaha yena saha jitakrodhaha, one who has conquered anger. Meaning, one who cannot be swayed by the things and beings outside or the sentiments and emotions inside. Then one who cannot be swayed by any external factors. Very beautiful again, I apologize for the typographical error. Veda Maryada Sthapanartham. Veda Maryada. What is Veda Maryada? That very teachings in the Veda, Sthapanartham, Surarin Hanti. Surarin. Suran is celestial beings. Surarin are people who are enemies of celestial beings, enemies of devatas. So the enemies of devatas are all people who are negative oriented people. Rakshasa is a very simple word we use, but what is it actually? Nothing but the negativity in us. We don't require Rakshasas outside. Everybody, lock, stock and barrel, everybody are inside. In fact, Bhagavan has no place, that is why. Why Bhagavan has no place? We have filled all the other Tom, Dick and Harry and all kinds of Rakshasas are inside. Think. To remove all of them, send them out or kill them then and there, and then bring in Bhagavan is the very purpose of bhakti, is the purpose of jnana, is the very purpose of karma yoga. Bhagavan who Now please note here, Jitakrodaha, when it is the one who has won over, one who have conquered, actually means the one who has mastered. And in here, very interestingly, many of us will start questioning. No, Swamiji, in all the Puranas, etc., we find Rama got angry with these people. Rama got angry with Kharadushana. Rama got angry. Krishna got angry with so many people. Devi became Ugradevata, 20 hands and so many weapons and lion and things like that. It is so scary. It will be scary for people who have the negative tendencies. It is to scare all those negative tendencies. But by themselves, they have no anger. They may show anger, but they are not angry. A samhara is taken for loka sangrahartham. For loka sangrahartham, a samhara is exercised. But where do that Rakshasa or the negative people go? Bhagavan is so kind. He blesses them with Swargaloka. Think. They are given a position. Why? Very interesting way of thinking. Interpretations, you may say so. Such a beautiful Puranic story is given to the children. In fact, more elders have to read that. Children will not understand the very import of it at that age. But elders have to read all the Puranas. Why? We will be able to, hopefully, we will be able to understand. All those Puranic stories always make sure that the negativities are killed by Bhagavan. What does that mean? Our inner negativities have to be killed, cut asunder, and keep Bhagavan in our heart. This is the whole purpose. But when Bhagavan says he kills negativities, what is this killing? Is it out of anger? No. In Valmiki Ramayana, very beautiful shloka is there. Maranantani vairani nivrittam na prayojanam. What a beautiful way of presentation. Vibhishanji goes to Ramchandraji after Ravana is killed. Ravana is fallen down. Vibhishanji goes to Ramchandraji. War is over. And he again surrenders to Ramchandraji. Now what is my role? He asks. Ramchandraji says, Marana antani vairani. All that vaira meaning here what? Enmity. Those tendencies of enmity, na prayojanam, is no more prayojanam. Why? He is dead. Ravana as an entity is dead. And what is actually the purpose here? To remove negativity. That person is dead. Therefore, marana antani vairani na prayojanam. And it has to be given away. That vairitvam, that anger, that enmity, nivrittam, it has to be given away. And therefore, Vibhishana, asya samskaraha kriyatam. Please perform his samskara. Why this statement was given? Vibhishanji did not want to do the samskara. And all others are dead. Nobody is there alive. Only Vibhishanji in the whole race is alive. So it is only Vibhishanji who can perform the Antyeshti of Ravana. And Vibhishanji was not ready. Why was he not ready? He is such a Rakshasa. Because of him, the whole clan is vanished. So many people were troubled. Therefore, I will not perform his. This is how a normal human mind with Ragadvesha, Kamakroda, Ityadi will react. But look at the glory of Bhagavan. He, the moment says, Maranantani vairani nivritam. That has to go away. Why? That vairana is no prayojana. That the vairitam is no prayojana. The enmity, the anger, etc. has no more purpose. Why? He is already dead. Therefore, Now look at that beautiful line here. Mamapyesha yatha tava. Eshaha, this Ravana, yatha tava mama api. He is my brother as he is your brother. Look at the accommodation. Look at that love. Look at that immediate, instant removal, disappearance of all the krodha with which he fought. In fact, he did not have krodha inside to destroy oneself. Krodha is such a bad virus which we all have. Actually, anger kills us more than the person on whom we are angry. In fact, many times the other person would not even know properly that I am angry. But my anger constantly, like virus inside, eats away my own happiness. Jitakrodaha meaning what? The one who does not become or rather be angry. He may become angry, but at the same time, he gets the ability to remove that anger. And the best part is, never get angry at all. To show anger. I show anger because it is needed at that particular period of time for that particular person. And only time bound. And the next moment, the anger changes into joy and brings in so much of ecstasy. This, in fact, personally I have seen in front of me with Param Pujya Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji. When he becomes angry, he roars like a lion. That time, we don't know where to go. Even under the carpet, we can't go. That roar he would express. Next moment, you will find, ha, and he will laugh, and then he will say, come here, where is my coffee? And all that he would ask. The one who within a fraction of a second is to change, meaning no kind of emotions can sway, can carry away. And Jita Krodha here is, now look at that. Not only that the Krodha is gone, Mama api eshaha yatha tava. He is like, just as he is your brother, for me also Ravana is brother. Now no more enmity, now no more anger. Please go and perform his Antyeshti. Think, therefore what? The one who has mastered anger, the one who has kept the expressions of anger under his control. Therefore, Bhagavan is called Jitakrodha. Veerabahu. Bahu means hands. Veerabahu, the one who has beautiful long hands with tremendous valor, with tremendous courage, with tremendous skill in warfare, you may say. Vikramashila bahuhu asyaiti veerabahuhu. The one who has tremendous power, energy, valor, skill. All these put together, he is called. This we have studied, so in so many other namas we have studied. Vidaranaha, the one who is capable of tearing away. What? All those which are negative. Now look at this one. Adharmikan vidarayati iti vidaranaha. Adharmikan, those who are of the adharmic nature. Now we must be very careful here. Very many times adharmikan, when such word comes, our very, very unintelligent mind will immediately bring in some people in front of us and say, he is adharma, he is adharmic, he is adharmic. They all have to be killed. This is the cheapest mind one can have. Param Pujya Gurudev always says, never hate the sinner, hate the sin. I am able to show a lot of negativity because the negative thoughts are there. And that those negative thoughts are to be blamed, not me. In Ravana, there were negative thoughts, therefore Ravana was hated. But what do we do? Ravana, hate. Therefore, nobody keeps Ravana as the name for their child. Is it not? Why? They hate Ravana as a personality. But what does this actually mean? It means never hate the person as such, but hate that particular negative attitude. The person is where Bhagavan lives. How can you hate him? His very presence is because of the presence of Bhagavan in him. And you hate Bhagavan also? No. Love everybody. Hate the sin, not the sinner. Now here, adharmikan vidarayati, when it is said, the meaning what we have to take is, he removes the negative, the adharmic tendencies, he tears apart, he kills those tendencies and brings in the sattva guna in that person. This is how we have to take. However, as a benefit of doubt, we may say, those who do not tame themselves, those who do not correct themselves, those who do not transform themselves to be good, then has to come. This end has to come. Why? For the sake of Loka Sangrahartham. At that time, Bhagavan as though kills. But what is this killing? We have always seen. Death is also a change. So he will come back again in a different form. Then samskaras will take care. Alright. So Vidarana here means the one who tears apart the negative tendencies, the Rakshasa guna in every person. With this, we complete the 49th shloka. We will take this 50th shloka tomorrow. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.